Welcome back to my channel, y'all. This is gonna be season 1, episode 10 of Black Lightning. My name is Tierney, so let's go ahead and get into it. A lot happened in this episode as usual, but as always, it was a pretty good episode. So it starts off with 2Bits. He's on the corner and he's selling baby clothes, DVDs, and some other stuff. And I guess ever since Black Lightning told him that he couldn't sell drugs anymore, this is what he's been doing. And he is packing up all his stuff when across the street he sees one of Jefferson's students, and it's a drug transaction. I guess the girl got green light. She takes the green light right away, and she kind of like flares up on the inside. To me, it kind of looked like Jennifer. I don't know. What do y'all think? She flares up on the inside. Jefferson sees this. A van pulls up. 2 guys hop out, and they put her over their shoulder, and they put her in the van and they ride off. 2Bits tries to get their attention, but they don't stop for him and they just leave. So then we see Anissa. She's dressed up in her Thunder outfit, and she breaks into a lab that Gambi told her about with all the missing kids. She sees all the kids and she sees the equipment, and she realizes that they're still alive. So she's about to break them out when she decides not to do so, because she doesn't know what'll happen if she breaks the glass on that thing, and I guess she didn't want to hurt him. So she runs back to her house to tell her dad what she saw, to tell him that the kids that she saw need their help. And she says that Uncle Gambi told her to tell Jefferson about the kids, but she never did, because she knew that, they weren't talking to each other at the time. So she decided to go check it out for herself, and she saw all the kids, and she says that they're in some kind of suspended state and they're still alive. So Jefferson takes all this information in, and next thing we see is Lala. He's sitting at a table and he's reading some book about Egyptian death, and Will is sitting next to him, and obviously, Will is dead. Lala says there's no such thing as death, and Will's like, well, I want to be on the side that you're on, obviously, because Lala killed him. I believe Will asks him, well, what do you think Tobias is going to do when he comes back? And Lala says, I don't care. I'm going to kill him if I see him. Will says, well, what about your goons? You're going to kill them too. So he looks over there at them, and they're looking at him like he's crazy, because they can't see Will, obviously. So it looks like he's talking to himself. He walks over to the group of guys and asks them why they're not on the corner selling drugs. And one of the guys steps up and says that green light is out and these people don't want anything else. And so he looks to see that they're rolling up, I guess, some weed or something like that. And he tells them, y'all can smoke it, but y'all can't sell it. Y'all need to get back out there on them corners. You out here talking to yourself. Maybe you ain't built for this no more. So Lala steps up to him, grabs his ear, and rips it off. And I don't even know why I'm shocked by anything that Lala does, because, he's crazy. He killed his own family. Like, he has no moral, it seems like. He tells the other guys, like, if y'all tired of selling these drugs, then y'all need to let me know now. And they're like, well, we'll sell anything that you tell us to sell, obviously, because they scared. And then he had took the guy's gun and shot him like 2 times or something, so he killed him. And he tells him to take care of it. Will reappears after he killed that guy that was supposed to be his drug dealer. He was like, you always murking somebody just like you did me. And Lala says, all I did was give you a job. Everything else after that was your fault. And he reappears and he asks Lala, well, how's my mom doing? Lala tells him that, she hasn't been so good since you disappeared. And Will says, disappeared? She don't know that I'm dead. Lala says, dead bodies bring up too many questions. And then Will says, right, and he becomes a swirl and ends up on Lala's chest, just like Lawanda, but I guess on the other side. So then we have a scene where Black Lightning and Thunder go to the lab to find the missing bodies, and when they get inside, they see that all the tanks are gone. And Anissa tells him, they were all right here. I don't know what happened. And then Black Lightning tells her, somebody obviously knew that you were in here. And with his electric vision, he can see that tanks were dragged out on the floor. Right when Anissa was trying to tell him that nobody was here when I was here, they see some security guys and they have a battle with them, and Black Lightning creates like an electric bubble around them to protect them from, the shooting or whatever. And he sets up some kind of pad for Anissa to jump off of, and she shakes the ground, gives them a few minutes to recollect, And then they're working as a team because it seems like Thunder is using herself as a shield while Black Lightning is shooting and blasting people past her. So y'all know the drill. They blast everybody, and then Thunder pushes out of the brick wall, and Black Lightning looks back one more time, and then he follows suit. So when they get back to their house, Jefferson tells Anissa all the information that Gambi told him. 30 years ago he worked for the ASA, for this government organization, and they were putting stuff in the water and in the vaccines, and it inadvertently created people that had powers, and so they were trying to take those people out. Anissa says, I know all that information, but we need to find these kids, and we need Gambi's help to do that. And Jefferson yells and says, I can't work with Gambi anymore. Jefferson also tells her there's some things that you can't make right. So I guess he feels that Gambi, he crossed the line, and there's nothing that he can do to right that wrong. So then we see it's the next day, and Two Bits is knocking on Jefferson's door, and he asks him, can I have a minute of your time? And, he comes in and he tells him everything that he saw, and he says, one of your students got snatched last night, and so he repeats the story for him, and Jefferson asks him, where did it happen? I think he says 34th and Oglethorpe or something like that, and so he tells him to start from the beginning. Then we see three guys. They come to meet Lala about a drug deal. The one in charge tells Lala he thought he was dead, and Lala says, I was. And the guy weirdly says, welcome back. I don't know if they think this is a joke or what, but I thought that was weird. So then Lala gets down to business, and he tells him that he wants a whole bunch of chronic and coke, and he needs the product on commission or whatever, or something like that. And the man's like, ever since Greenlight came out, the business that I had in Freeland has dwindled down, so I don't really see the purpose of giving you this stuff, and I feel like it's a setup. And Lala's like, it's not a setup. I just want to do business or whatever. People can't get the green light. There was only one supplier, and that supplier is out. So the man says, well, how do I know? How can I trust you? You disappear, then you reappear. Lala pulls out a piece of paper and gives it to the man, and the man looks at it and he's like, this is your mother's address? And he's like, you want to put your mother up as collateral? And Lala's like, yeah, like, it's all good. Like, people don't just put up their mothers for collateral. But anyways, he says, give this to your guys, have them check it out, and if everything checks out, let's make a deal. So the guy agrees. So then Will reappears and asks him, and I feel like these people that are dead now are acting as his conscience, but he's not listening to them like he never does. But anyways, Will reappears and says, oh, you gonna put up your moms like that? And Lala does not respond. I think he just walks away. So then we have a scene back at Jefferson's house. Jennifer comes down for breakfast, and she says, hey, how you doing, or good morning, or something like that. And I think she's like pulling out some cereal, and Jefferson tells her that he needs her to stay home from school today. And Jennifer asks, why do I have to stay home? And Jefferson says, I can't tell you at the moment, but please stay home or whatever. She walks back up the steps all sad, and Anissa comes down and says, what's going on? And he tells her that I need you to stay here today with Jennifer because it might not be safe for her to be out. And Anissa asks him, does this have anything to do with what happened last night? And he says, I'm not sure. He'll give her a call when he can. Then we have this girl. She is in town, and she's handing out flyers for her missing friend Nemo, which was a student that got snatched the other night. And she walks into Gambi's shop, and she asks him, can she put up a flyer in there? And Gambi asks, well, what happened? And she tells her that, me and my friend Nemo, we talk like 4 times a day, and she didn't call me last night or something, and I haven't heard anything from her since then. Gambi says, well, why didn't you ask the police about this? And she says, well, she was on green light. After the girl said that her friend was on green light, Gambi says, oh, so the police don't think it's worth their time. And that's sad. And her parents called my parents last night to see if she was over there, but she wasn't. And Gambi says, well, maybe she ran away. And she says, Nemo wouldn't run away. So Gambi says, of course, I'll put up your flyer in my store or whatever. So then we have this scene of Jennifer and Anissa, and they're at home, and Jennifer's walking up the steps saying, this has ruined my life already. And I guess her not being able to go to school and see who won the SGA race is like ruining her life. But anyways, Anissa's telling her, like, you need to calm down, and Jennifer tells her, nobody's listening to me, I don't want these powers. And then Anissa says, well, you don't even know what you can do, and this is a gift from God. And then Jennifer says, a gift from God, it could be a curse from the devil. Like, in my opinion, it's not a gift, basically. Anissa says, you have a responsibility to help these people, and Jennifer says, I don't have a responsibility to do anything. And then this is when Anissa starts going in saying that it's probably best that you don't know what you can do, because you would just quit on mom and dad and me, and you quit track and you quit on Khalil. And I think that obviously it really hurt Jennifer's feelings. Like it touched her down to her core, because she starts shaking. It looks like she just burns up, but it's like a pure ball of energy or whatever. And she burns up the pillow on the couch, which I didn't even see. But anyways, Anissa's like, oh my gosh, you're just like Dad. The next scene is Jefferson. He's coming to talk to Lynn at her lab about what's going on, and he tells her that the girls are at home today. He thinks that what happened 30 years ago is starting to happen again, and it might not be safe for them to be out there right now. So then Lynn says the ASA made Greenlight to replicate the vaccine and what happened with it, but most people on Greenlight just destroy their lives. They don't get powers. And then she says, you need to talk to Gambi. And Jefferson's like, not gonna happen. He tells Lynn that him and Gambi are through, and he says that he might be able to use his electric vision to see, where these tanks are located. He just needs to know, like, where a delivery truck might have went, or, if there was any movement of large objects in the area. And he says Two Bits might know something, and Lynn says, why would Two Bits know something? And Jefferson says that Two Bits has been tracking the comings and goings of Freeland since they were in high school. Lynn asks him what is electric vision, and he tells her that before he could only sense electricity, but Gambi improved it so that he could actually see electricity as well. And so they have a little flirtatious moment, which is rare for them. The next scene is Gambi. He's entering his shop. As soon as he enters, then Martin and two other men enter. He tells Gambi that he's going to need to come with him. And Gambi pulls out two guns. And Martin says, I thought that would be your response. He says that they have an agent out on the street. He's going to start shooting people if Gambi doesn't come with them within 2 minutes. Gambi kind of stands there with the guns for a little while, but then he decides to go. He puts the guns down. Then we have a quick scene where Jefferson comes to talk to Jennifer about what happened earlier in the day, and he tells her that you will be able to live the life that you want to live, but basically you're going to have to learn to control your powers. And Jennifer says, I didn't ask for this, and he says, I know, but you need to learn how to control them or somebody could get hurt. And so then she asks him how does he use the bathroom in his suit. The next scene is Black Lightning coming to talk to Two Bits, basically to get information, and he sees that Two Bits is about to light up, and so he zaps the joint out of his fingers, and Two Bits is like, what are you doing? I'm keeping our part of the deal. Black Lightning says, well, you shouldn't be smoking these drugs either. Two Bits is like, well, I got a card, and Black Lightning's like, you don't have no card for me. And then Two Bits is like, I hate you, man. And so Black Lightning's like, no you don't, I'm making you into a better man. Did you see any movement last night? Two Bits says he heard about some movement of some military vehicles, but they never left Freeland. They stayed in the city. After, I believe he says that, somebody drops or tries to drop a microwave on Jefferson's head, and he's able to move, and the lady's like, oh, I almost got you. Two Bits tells him that they doubled the price on his head since Lady Eve's murder. Black Lightning says, I didn't kill her. And he says, oh, I know, but, I will take you in if I could take you. Two Bits tells him, you need to keep a low profile, and Black Lightning's like, I don't do low profile, and then he disappears. So then we have this quick scene of Jefferson. He's on top of a building, and he's looking around the city, and he happens to see Malik. I think right there he decides that he's going to go talk to him later. Then we're back to Gambi, and they're beating him up, and Martin says, we know that you broke into our lab a few days ago. A few days later, Black Lightning shows up, so it's no coincidence or whatever, and I know that you know how to contact him. And Gambi just shakes his head like, no, I don't know how to contact him. And then they put a bag on his head, and they start to pour water on it, I believe. So then we see Jefferson in his regular clothes going to talk to Malik, and he tells him that, you're going to die out here on these streets. There's a mentorship program at Garfield High. I want you to come to it. Malik's like, you know what, I'm good. I got to do this for me and my grandma. And Jefferson says, you know what, if you come, then I'll find a way to help you and your grandma out. And Malik says, I'm good. And he says, well, I'll be there at 10 o'clock in the morning if you still want to come by, if you change your mind. So then we go back to Gambi getting tortured. Martin says, you quit the ASA, but you stayed in Freeland, and I really didn't understand that. And you helped to take care of Jefferson Pierce, the man who was investigating us, like he was your own son. And I wonder how tough your surrogate son is, so please invite Jefferson Pierce to join us. Then we have another quick scene of Lynn, Anissa, and Jennifer, and I guess they're at her lab, and there's like an MRI machine, I'm not sure. And Jennifer's in the machine, and she's asking her mother why she's here, and Lynn says, after everything that happened, I just want to make sure that you're okay internally. And when she's looking at Jennifer's scan, she thinks that the machine is malfunctioning. So she tells Anissa to go change places with her sister. And when Anissa gets on the machine, everything is fine. And so Jennifer says, wow, you can see the inside of her. And her mom tells her, well, everything looks fine now. Could you please go switch back with your sister? So when Jennifer gets back on the machine, Anissa comes in, and Lynn's like, okay, the machine wasn't malfunctioning. And then Anissa asks her, is this how dad's scans look? And Lynn says, no. Jennifer is like creating pure energy with her cells. So then we have this scene of Jefferson. He's at the school, and he's waiting for Malik to get there. And, it's Saturday morning, and I guess it's past 10 o'clock because Malik is late. And then when Malik walks in, he's like, well, where are all the other students at? And Jefferson says, you're it. I'll be personally mentoring you. I believe the first thing he asked him is, do you know what a mantra is? And he said no. And so he had him repeat the mantra that he had on the board. And he gives this Henry Ford quote and says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So Malik asks him, how did you know that I was going to come? And Jefferson says, I didn't. I just hoped that you would. And before they can get started on the lesson good, they get interrupted by these men who tell Jefferson if he wants to see Peter Gambi alive again, then he needs to come with them quietly. And so he tells Malik to read some poems by Langston Hughes, like one a day or something like that, and then we're going to discuss it the next time they meet up. The next scene is Jefferson going with the man to the location where Gambi is, and he sees Gambi on the floor. He looks really bad. He's all beaten up and bruised, and the men are about to point a gun at Jefferson, and they're asking Gambi, do you want to tell us who Black Lightning is now? Or we're going to count to 3 and blow his head off. So Jefferson and Gambi make eye contact. Jefferson cuts the lights, and that's enough time for Gambi to get the gun and shoot both of the agents. And then Jefferson helps Gambi out. And so when they get back to Gambi's secret room at his shop, Jefferson tells him, you didn't tell them about me, and he says that I don't think that you're safe here. And Gambi says, your family is the only one who knows about this room. The ASA don't know about it. Then Gambi tries to get up, and Jefferson just tells him, you need to rest, and he's about to go check on Lynn and the girls. And then Gambi says, you need to get out of the house, and he says you need to find the spotter. It's somebody that's embedded in the community, and basically it's the job that I have where you figure out who has powers. And then he tells Jefferson, if you can find the spotter, then you can find Nima and the others. So then we have another quick scene of Lala. He's making some speech about Greenlight and how it has only one supplier, and that's bad for business. And he has, the Coke and the Chronic or whatever that he got from the other guys. And he tells them that they need to go sell it. The guy speaks up and says, all my customers want is Greenlight. Lala tells him, if that's what you want, then you should leave. He's like, you coming in here with all that rah, rah, rah. Before he walks out, he tells him that you're not really in charge of the 100, and when Tobias comes back, you're going to get dealt with. And so Lala starts walking up on him, and he's like, did you really think I was going to let you walk up on me? And he pulls out a gun, and he's pointing it in Lala's direction, who continues to walk towards him. I believe Lala tells him, go ahead and shoot it, and the gun misfires. Lala comes up close to him and whispers in his ear, if I ever catch you in Freeland again, then I'll kill you with my bare hands. And so then the guy leaves. Will reappears and asks him, how'd you know that the gun was going to misfire? And Lala says, I didn't. So then we have this scene of the family going to Jefferson's old family home, I guess where he grew up at, I guess until his father was killed. Lynn opens the door and she's like, this is where your father grew up. Jennifer starts saying all these complaints, talking about the dust and all that. And then Anissa asks, well, is this where Grandpa was murdered? And he says, yeah, but there's a lot of other good memories here too. You guys need to make yourselves comfortable. And he's like, we're safe here. And so Jennifer says, why don't you sell it? And he says, I had it in a trust until I was 21. And then after that, the property manager looked after it. And nobody knows that I own it, so we'll be safe here. So the last scene is Martin, and he's in the lab. And he's looking at the newest addition to the lab, which is Nema. And we can't really see who he's talking to at first, but then they finally show it's the vice principal. And I've been telling y'all since day one that I didn't like her. I didn't like her vibe. But anyway, he thanks her for the newest addition to, I guess, the tanks or whatever, Nema. And then he asks her how many more subjects demonstrated abilities. Her answer is none yet. Martin says you need to do a better job. Jefferson Pierce is Black Lightning. And the vice principal starts laughing like, no, he is not. And Martin's like, yes, he is. He's been hiding in plain sight all this time. And then the vice principal says, well, why do you think that he's Black Lightning? Martin tells her that when we bought Peter Gambian, we invited Jefferson Pierce in as well. And when he came in, the lights were cut out. 2 of my agents got killed and they escaped. And then the last question that Martin asks the vice principal is, do you think you can take him? And she says real confidently, yes. I can say confidently that I feel like Gambi is on our side now. Anybody who takes a beating for us, that's real big in my book. So I guess he's back on the good side. I didn't want all that to happen to him, but, he proved his loyalty to Jefferson, and that's what's important. As far as Jennifer is concerned, I'm kind of tired of her. I don't want to be a part of a superhero family role, and I want her to get with the program and want to help save people. But I guess this is what it takes for her to get there. And the vice principal, we already knew she was shady. She was trying to take him from Lynn. She's just, I don't know, she's petty. Like, one day she's up, one day she's down. We don't see her a lot, but I felt like her presence was irritating enough. So yeah, y'all tell me how y'all feel about all the characters and everything like that. I love talking to y'all in the comments. This is about to be interesting. As always, there's always a twist in Black Lightning. That's why I love the show so much. If y'all have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them down below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.